स्टडी IQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल.
Hello friends, hi, this is Alok Ojha from StudyIQ IAS English. Welcome back to Ancient Indian History series. Today we are going to start with one of the most important chapters, that is Vedic Civilization Part 1. Here we are going to throw light on various aspects like Aryan invasion theory, the four important Vedas, that is Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharvaveda, and their significance. Apart from this, we are also going to learn different concepts associated with various Vedas. So please stick till the end of the video and pay attention carefully so that all your doubts will get clear. Okay guys, moving ahead. Now the question arises, like in Indus Valley civilization, as per various historians, there are dissenting opinions. Some believe that Indus Valley civilization was destroyed by flood. Some believe that Indus Valley civilization was destroyed by earthquake. Some believe that there might be any sort of epidemic that might be the reason for destruction of Indus Valley civilization. Some historians believe that due to famines and the rivers changing its course, it might be one of the reasons for destruction of Indus Valley civilization. So there are multiple theories regarding destruction of Indus Valley civilization. I'll ask you a simple question, guys. My question is, Indus Valley civilization, whose extent is almost around 8,50,000 square kilometers, can be destroyed because of just one single reason? Now, the most logical theory behind this is Aryan invasion theory or Central Asian invasion theory. Now, let's understand about this. Please pay attention carefully. There were certain tribes from Central Asia. They came into India through Khyber Pass, which is located in Hindu Kush mountains. They entered into northern part of India and started subjugating the natives of India. They came up with horses, chariots, sophisticated iron weapons, and started subjugating the natives of India. Now, unable to meet their challenges, the natives of India moved towards southern part of river Narmada. Specifically, they moved towards the southern part of India. And in that case, when they moved towards southern part of India, it is believed that they settled in southern part of India. The people or the tribes that came from Central Asia got settled in northern part of India. And the tribes that got settled in northern part of India were referred as Aryans. The word Arya finds mention for 36 times in the shlokas or hymns of Rigveda. Dravidians got settled in the southern part of India. The place where Aryans got settled is referred as Aryavarta or Sapta Sindhu or Brahmavarta. Whereas where the Dravidians got settled was referred as Dravid Nadu. Now, one simple question that arises in the mind of every aspirant. If Indus Valley civilization was being destroyed by different reasons, for example, earthquake, flooding, change in the course of river, and so on, whom did the Aryans subjugate? So probably certain historians also believe that the natives of India who moved towards the southern part of India were initially also the part of Indus Valley civilization. And this theory, for the first time, was given by a German historian whose name was Max Müller. This is also referred as Max Müller theory or Aryan invasion theory. I'll repeat the points again in short, guys. Please pay attention carefully so that all your doubts get cleared. Certain tribes from Central Asia entered into India. They entered into India through Khyber Pass, which is located in Hindu Kush mountains. They came up with sophisticated iron weapon, horses, chariots, and they started subjugating the natives of India. The natives of India, unable to meet their challenges, moved towards southern part of river Narmada, specifically towards the South India. The people who got settled in the northern part of India were referred as Aryans. The people who got settled in southern part of India were referred as Dravidians. Aryans were tall, fair-skinned, whereas Dravidians were specifically They were dark-skinned people. And that's why Aryans connotated Dravidians as Das or Dasyus. The word Arya finds mention for 36 times. I'm repeating, the word Arya finds mention for 36 times in Rigvedic hymns, and the word Arya means of noble origin, of high origin. This theory is referred as Aryan invasion theory or Central Asian invasion theory. And this was given by a German historian named as Max Mueller. Correct? Now, as per Swami Dayanand Saraswati, Aryans came from Tibet. As per Bal Gangadhar Tilakji, the Aryans came from the poles, that is, they came from the Arctic. And as per Nazis, the Aryans are German. This is nothing but Central Asian invasion theory. Hope so the points are clear till here. Now, where do we come to know about the Aryans from? We come to know about the Aryans from Vedas. Now let's understand this with the help of a very simple chart. And this chart is very, very important because if you just have a glimpse of this chart, there's no need to memorize the concepts like is Rigveda Shruti or Smriti? Is Vedang Shruti or Smriti? Is Ramayana or Mahabharata? That is one of the greatest epics of ancient India. Is a Shruti or Smriti? Please pay attention carefully. Just observe the chart and just listen to me carefully. All your doubts would be cleared, guys. Okay? Moving ahead. Ved. The word Ved has been derived from Sanskrit word Vidya. Vidya basically means knowledge. And there are two kinds of knowledge. Par Vidya and Apar Vidya. Now what is Apar Vidya? Apar Vidya is materialistic knowledge. Correct? Like for example, in today's world, if I need to have a lot of fortune, a lot of money, in that case, I'll worship Lord Ganesha, I'll worship Goddess Lakshmi, I'll worship Lord Kuber, I'll worship them with the help of mantras. True? So that is nothing but I'm doing this for materialistic gain. That is Apar Vidya. Par Vidya, something which is beyond our imagination. That is nothing but Par Vidya. For example, if I say you, this is a marker, correct? You can say that, yes, it's a marker because you can sense it. You can touch it, you can write with the help of this. But if I say, this is soul, can you sense my soul? This is beyond my imagination. That is nothing but Par Vidya. Okay? Moving ahead. Apar Vidya is divided further into two categories. Secular and sacred. Secular basically means it encompasses the principle of all different religions. But sacred basically means it is confined to one particular religion. Since it is confined to Hinduism, that's why Vedas are sacred. Now comes the sacred part. It is further divided into Shruti and Smriti. Very important concept. Please pay attention carefully. Shruti and Smriti. Shruti, what we have heard. Smriti, what we memorize. One of the finest example. Currently, I am having an interaction with you guys. I am speaking something. You're listening. That is Shruti. After listening, whatever you interpret, memorize, and write it down, that is Smriti. Got it? I repeat, Shruti, one what is heard, and Smriti, one what is interpreted. Okay? So Vedas are Shruti. And there are four Vedas. Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvaveda. I repeat, there are four basic major Vedas. Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvaveda. Moving further, these Vedas are basically classified into two categories, that is Karma Marg and Gyan Marg. Further, apart from this, In the end of the Gyan Marg, you will find two major aspects, that is Aranyaka and Upanishad. Now, what are Aranyakas? Aranyakas are nothing but forest book, and they are also the part of process. What kind of process? Let me explain you that. As per different Upanishads, specifically Jabal Upanishad, every human has to go through four stages of life. The first stage of life is Brahmacharya, where his prime responsibility is to acquire knowledge. The second stage, basically, apart from Brahmacharya, goes with Grihastha Ashram. In Grihastha Ashram, one's prime responsibility is to fulfill his worldly duties. Then comes Vanaprastha. For example, if I have fulfilled my all worldly duties, now I will start moving towards the forest. And when I start moving towards the forest, I will completely renounce my worldly life. After completely renouncing my worldly life, in that case, I will meditate. I'll start to know about myself and I'll stay in the forest. When I stay in the forest, I'll pen down certain books, and these books are referred as Aranyakas. So, what are Aranyakas? There was a direct question in the UPSC Prelims examination. You can Google it, you can see the PYQs. You will come across the statement, what are Aranyakas? Aranyakas are nothing but forest books. Correct? In that case, Aranyakas are also referred as what? Aranyakas are referred as book of secrets. The secrets in Hindi is referred as Rahasya. And we'll understand in the coming lectures why it is referred as book of secrets. Coming further is Upanishad. Try to break this etymology into two parts, Up and Sad. Up means nearby, Sad means sit. Sitting near the Guru's feet to gain knowledge is Upanishad. And there are 108 Upanishad, among which 11 are the most important ones and are referred as Mukhya Upanishad. Correct? Now, Upanishads are also referred as Vedanta. Why they are referred as Vedanta? Because they reveal the ultimate phase of life and they come in the end of the Vedas. That's why Upanishads are referred as Vedanta. Hope so. This part is clear. Okay? Moving further. Please pay attention. Smriti. Now, with every Ved, there is something called as an Upaved. Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharvaveda, Sthapatya. We are going to see them in quite depth and detail, but all these Upaved are a part of Smriti. And I've told you previously itself the difference between Shruti and Smriti. Shruti, that one is specifically Shruti. Shruti basically means, yes, what is heard. Smriti basically means what is memorized and interpreted. Got it? So here Upaved, all these are Upaved are a part of Smriti. Then comes Vedang. Again try to break this etymology into two parts. Ved, Ang. There are different parts of Vedas. For example, if Ved is a structure of the body, its eyes, ears, nose, tongue, these are nothing but Vedang. And there are 6 parts of it. Siksha, Vyakaran, Nirukta, Chand, Jyotish and Kalpa. One of the finest example, you might have heard about something called as Sola Sanskar or Sodash Karmas or the 16 Karmas. Right from the birth of child till the death, there's a process called as Sola Sanskar. You might have heard about this. This find mentions in Kalp, which is a part of Vedang. Coming further, Puran. There are total 18 Puran, 18 Mahapuran and 46 Upapuran. And there are 2 great epics of India, Ramayana and Mahabharata. Ramayana was being composed by sage Valmiki and Mahabharata was being composed by sage Vedas. Ramayana and there's a difference between Ramayana and Ramcharitmanas. Okay? Ramayana was being composed by sage Valmiki And Ramcharitmanas was basically being composed by whom? It was being composed by Tulsidas ji. Hope so. This table is clear. Correct? Now, I'll give you one of the finest example. If you memorize this table, just before going to the examination, if you have a glimpse of this table, there's no need of memorizing whether Rigveda is Shruti, whether Aranikas are Smriti or Shruti. Directly you can see that. Aranikas are part of Gyan Marg, part of Shruti. Got it? Comes, for example, Nirukta. Nirukta basically means etymology. It's a part of Vedang. Vedang is a part of Smriti. So Nirukta is Smriti. Just have a glimpse of this. I'll give you 30 seconds, guys. Please have a glimpse of this table because it's very important from the exam perspective. Then I'll move towards the further part. Done? Moving ahead, guys. Now let's understand each Vedas in quite depth and detail. Rigveda. Try to break this etymology into two parts. Pay attention carefully. Very important ones. And I'll also tell you how it is important from the perspective of examination, specifically prelims examination. Rigveda. Break this etymology into two parts. Rig plus Ved. Rig means praising the deity. And Ved means, as I've already told you, Ved means Vidya, that is knowledge. So how will you praise the deity? Through knowledge of mantras, through knowledge of shloks, through knowledge of hymns. So Rigveda basically means praising the deity through hymns. Okay? Entire Rigveda is composed of 1028 hymns and 10,552 mantras. I repeat, entire Rigveda is composed of 1028 hymns and 10,552 mantras. Rigveda is also a hidden treasure, guys. I'll also tell you in the end how. Now, Rigveda is basically composed of 10 mandals. It is divided into 10 books. Okay? Now, Mandal 1 and Mandal 10 speaks about the origin of the universe. How this universe got created. How will it get destroyed. So, Mandal 1 and 10 speaks about the origin of universe. Then comes Mandal 2 to 7. Now, Mandal 2 to 7 are called as family books. Now, why they are called as family books? Because they were composed by the rishis of the same family. They were composed by the sages of the same family. Okay? Then comes Mandal 3. Mandal 3, it has been asked in UPSC examination multiple times. The famous Gayatri mantra, which was composed by sage Vishwamitra, okay, finds mention in Mandal 3 of Rigveda. Guys, do you know one fact? There's a very interesting story associated with sage Vishwamitra, who was one of the most venerated rishis or sages of ancient India. Does anyone know about this? Yes? Guys, the original name of sage Vishwamitra was King Kaushik. He was a king. And once upon a time, he went hunting into jungle. And when he went hunting into the jungle, at that time, he saw a hermit of a sage Vasisht. And he saw a cow. The cow's name was Kamdhenu. He was very fascinated towards the cow, and now he wanted to have that cow at any cost. Since he was a king, he went to sage Vasisht and respectfully and politely, initially, he asked sage Vasisht to submit that cow to him, specifically Raja Kaushik. But sage Vasisht politely replied that this cow does not belong to me. It belongs to the Devas or the Devtas or the deities. And in that case, I run a Gurukul here where I teach a lot many students. And this cow is basically used for feeding those students. So I cannot hand over this cow to you, Rajan. In that case, King Kaushik got infuriated. He got very angry. He sent a lot many forces to destroy sage Vasisht and acquire that cow Kamdhenu. But sage Vasisht, he had lot many spiritual powers due to his penance activities. In that case, the cow, the Kamdhenu cow, it created lot many soldiers due to its spiritual powers to fight the forces of whom? Raja Kaushik. And finally, Raja Kaushik was defeated. Raja Kaushik then approached Vamdev and asked, who is Vasisht? How did he acquire these spiritual powers? Then Vamdev said that Vasisht is a Brahma Rishi. He is very close to the Devtas, very close to the deities, and he has acquired such powers because of his penance, because of his spiritual activities that he has performed for the deities. From now onwards, Kaushik decided to renounce his worldly life and live a life of an ascetic. Through his penance activities, he also became a specifically Brahma Rishi and is referred as Vishwamitra, who composed the famous Gayatri Mantra. Got the point now? So the famous Gayatri Mantra, narrated by sage Vishwamitra, finds mention in Mandal 3 of Rigveda. Got it? Moving ahead. Mandal 9 is dedicated to Som, that is god of plants or intoxicants. Then comes Mandal 10. In Mandal 10, there is a part called as Purusha Sukta. I repeat, in Mandal 10, there is a part called as Purusha Sukta, wherein you can find the distinctions of 4 different castes. Or the Varna system origin can be traced back to Purusha Sukta, which is a part of Mandal 10 of Rigveda, which suggests that every human being, or for that sake, every being is born out of different parts of Brahma. Example, Brahman is created from the mouth of Brahma. Kshatriya is created from the shoulders of Brahma. Vaishya is created from the thighs of Brahma. And Shudra is created from the feet of Brahma. So the origin of Varna system can be traced back to Purusha Sukta, which is a part of Mandal 10 of Rigveda. Majority of the deities, majority of the gods mentioned in Rigveda are nature gods. As I've told you previously itself, in Rigveda there are 1028 hymns, correct? Out of this 1028 hymns, 250 hymns are dedicated to Indra, god of strength, god of war, god of rain. He is also referred as Purandar. 200 hymns are dedicated to Agni. I repeat, 200 hymns are dedicated to Agni, that is god of fire. Now I'll tell you one of the significance of Agni. Now, for example, whenever you take an Anushtan basically means whenever you take a vow that I'll perform these mantra for 10,000 times. Okay? Now, whenever you perform that mantra or whenever you recite that mantra for 10,000 times, out of 10,000 times, 1/10 of the mantras should be dedicated to Agni. Why? Because Agni is acting as an intermediary between the Yajman. Yajman basically means a person who is performing those rituals and the deity. Okay? So that is the major significance of Agni. So 200 hymns are dedicated to Agni. Third important deity, Som. Mandal 9, as we discussed earlier, Som. 120 hymns are dedicated to Som. Okay? Moving further, the word Gau, because cow had a lot of significance during the Vedic age. And the word Gau appears for 176 times in Rigvedic hymns. And the word Ashwa, Ashwa is a Sanskrit word for horse. The word Ashwa appears for 315 times in Rigvedic hymns. Okay? There are texts associated with various Vedas. And these texts are referred as Brahmanas. So the major texts that are associated with Rigveda are Aitreya Brahman and Kaushtaki Brahman. I repeat, Aitreya Brahman and Kaushtaki Brahman. Hope so the points are clear, guys. I can understand overloaded with information, but I'll repeat again so that all your points get cleared. Please pay attention carefully. I'm 100% sure if you watch the video till the end, majority of your doubts will get clear concerning Vedas. Okay? I'll repeat the points again, guys. Pay attention carefully. Within 30 seconds, I'm going to repeat the entire Rigveda again. Rigveda, breaking this etymology into two parts, that is Rig plus Ved. Rig basically means praising the deity through hymns. The entire Rigveda is composed of 10 mandals, that is divided into 10 books. Mandal 1 and 10 speaks about the origin of universe. Mandal 2 to 7 are called as family books because they were composed by the rishis of the same family. Mandal 9 is dedicated to Som, that is god of plants or intoxicant. In Mandal 10, there is a part called as Purusha Sukta, where we find the mention of caste system or Varna system for the first time, wherein it is mentioned that everyone is born out of the various body parts of Brahma. That is, Brahman is born out of mouth of Brahma, Kshatriya out of shoulders, Vaishya out of thighs, and Shudra out of feet. The most important deities in the Rig Veda are Indra. The first important deity is Indra. That is, he is god of specifically warlord, rain god, also referred as Purandar, and 250 hymns are dedicated to Indra. Agni, 200 hymns are dedicated to Agni. 120 hymns are dedicated to whom? 120 hymns are dedicated to, specifically if I speak, Som, god of plants or intoxicants. And in that case, if we consider the most famous mandal is Mandal 3, which was composed by sage Vishwamitra, initially Raja or King Kaushik. Okay, and here we find the famous Gayatri Mantra. Okay, as I told you in the start itself, guys, that in the end I'll tell you, Rigveda is basically a house of treasure. How? In Rigveda, there are different suktas which mention about various aspects which our scientists have discovered recently. Like for example, I'll give you one of the example. In a particular sukta in Rigveda, it is mentioned that before the creation of the solar system or before the creation of this universe, the universe or this entire system was a part of one system, and there was an explosion which led to creation of multiple universes, which led to creation of oceanic bodies, which led to creation of solar system. And what do the scientists call this today as? Big Bang Theory. It is mentioned in certain sukta of Rigveda. Second major example. In our solar system, we observe that we have an heliocentric theory. What is heliocentric theory? In that case, every planet rotates around the sun. The sun is at the center of every planet. This finds mention in a particular sukta of Rigveda. There are so many hidden treasures in Rigveda we cannot even imagine. That's why you might have heard about the statement of Bal Gangadhar Tilak ji and Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji. Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji gave a cry. And what was that? Back to Vedas. Oh, so the points are clear till here, guys. Now, moving ahead with Samaveda. Hope so Rigveda is clear. Okay. Moving ahead with Samaveda. Again, break this etymology into two parts. Saman plus Ved. Saman basically means music. And Ved, as discussed earlier, basically means Vidya. That is knowledge. The knowledge of music. The origin of Indian music can be traced back to Samaveda. And the musical instrument Veena finds mention in Samaveda. Okay, the musical instrument Veena finds mention in Samaveda. Now, let's understand two important concepts which are a part of Samaveda. One is Stobha and one is Stoma. I repeat, Stobha and Stoma. Now, what is Stobha? I'll give you one of the finest examples about this. Let me give you a small example of Ramcharitmanas. Okay. For example, Ramcharitmanas is basically divided into 7 parts. And one of the famous parts of it is Sundarkand. Correct? Now, after recitation of a particular stanza, there is repetition of one stanza, or there's a repetition of one statement or one shlok. And that repetition is called as stobha. I repeat, repetition of mantra is referred as stobha. And then comes stom. Now, what is stom? Stom is basically the process for recitation of mantra mentioned in Samaveda. Okay, now let's understand this process. For example, if you are performing a particular yajna at your home and you have invited 11 pandits or 11 brahmins to perform that yajna, in that case, they started reciting the mantra. Okay, the initial part of the mantra would be in a low pitch. Then the middle part of the mantra would be in high pitch. After a particular point of time, among those pandits or the brahmins, the chief priest is going to recite the mantras alone. And during the end of the mantra, everyone recites the mantra in a very high pitch. I repeat, the mantra recitation process starts in a low pitch. Then every Brahman recites a mantra or every priest recites the mantra in a high pitch. After a particular point of time, the chief priest recites that mantra alone. He repeats that mantra alone. And in the end, all the priests end the mantra in a very high pitch. And this process is called as stoma. Now let me make you understand again one thing, the different parts of stom. As I've told you previously, the initial part of the mantra is in low pitch, prastavna. Second part of the mantra, high pitch, pratihar. Then comes the chief priest repeats the mantra, upadrav. And the mantra is ended in a very high pitch by all the priests. That is called as nidhan. So these 4 are the part of stom. And what is stom? The process for recitation of the mantra. Points are clear? I'll repeat the points again. Stob. Stob basically means what? Stob basically means the repetition of a mantra. And stom basically means what? The process for recitation of that mantra. Got it? Again, important thing. As we have discussed about the Brahmans associated with Rigveda, similarly there are Brahmans associated with Samaveda, and they are important from prelims perspective. Many times questions have been asked in the examination, these are the Brahmans associated with which Ved? Okay, so let's come. The first one is Panchvish, Sadvish, Tandamaha, Talvakar, Jaiminya. These are the important Brahmans associated with Samaveda. Panchvish, Sadvish, Jaiminya, Tandamaha, and Talvakar. Brahmans associated with Samaveda. I can understand, guys, initially it is a bit tougher to remember them. But if you pay attention carefully, if you keep on revising these concepts, I'm 100% sure about this, you will easily memorize them. Okay? What a wonderful statement by a Vedic scholar, David Frawley. What a wonderful statement. For example, if any question arises in your UPSC mains examination concerning Rigveda or Samaveda, and that is from the perspective of art and culture, start your answer with such a beautiful statement given by David Frawley. Wonderful statement, guys. And that statement is, if Rigveda is a word, Samaveda is a song. If Rigveda is knowledge, Samaveda is realization. And if Rigveda is wife, Samaveda is husband. Got it? I'll tell you one more fact, guys. In Bhagavad Gita, it has been directly mentioned that Krishna himself says, Samvedosmi. In simple words, if there are 4 Vedas, I am Samaveda. Clear, guys? Any query? Any doubt? Moving further. Yajurveda. Again, here we have a very beautiful story associated with Yajurveda. Okay. See, guys, throughout our series of history, you will observe one pattern. We are going to follow a very simplistic pattern that will help you guys a lot. Story, fact, and concept. Why? Because it becomes quite easier to remember the fact and concept when it is associated with a story. And here we have hundreds of stories throughout ancient India, hundreds of stories in medieval India, which are actually interesting and help you out in gaining something new. Okay, moving to Yajurveda. Break this etymology into two parts. Okay, now break this etymology into two parts: Yajus and Ved. Yajus basically means yagna, and Ved means knowledge. The performance of yagnic sacrifices finds mention in Yajurveda. Okay, now I'll give you one of the fine. There are two stories I'll tell you now. Please pay attention carefully. Once upon a time, Raja Dashrath, King Dashrath, he was performing Ashwamedh Yagna. And when he was performing Ashwamedh Yagna, he invited seers and sages from different venerated seers and sages from different parts of India. All the sages were being invited except one sage or one rishi referred as Uddalak Rishi. Now, once upon a time, Uddalak Rishi was sitting under a tree and he observed that lot many sages and seers were moving in a particular direction. He had a glimpse of that scene. Now he caught one sage and asked him, "Where are you guys going?" He informed him that Raja Dashrath is going to perform Ashwamedh Yagna. And he has invited all the venerated sages from different parts of India. And we are a part of that. "You are not invited?" He said, "No." Although he wasn't invited, he went. Uddalak Rishi went to the Ashwamedh Yagna that was being performed by Raja Dashrath. As he went there, he said that before starting the yagna, I have 2 to 3 questions. Immediately Raja Dashrath, he fell on the feet of Rishi Uddalak. He said that, "I am really sorry for not inviting you because it skipped my mind. I had no intentions to hurt your spiritual powers." He said, "There's nothing wrong in that. If you have not invited me, that's not an issue. But I have 2 to 3 major questions." He said, now Raja Dashrath was like, "We have sages from different parts of India. They are highly knowledgeable. They have attained a lot of spiritual powers through their penance activity. Some or the other is going to answer the question of Rishi Uddalak." And the question was like, what is the soul of Yagna? First question. Second question, what is the crux of the Yagna? Third question, what is the mouth of the Yagna? Or what is the face of the Yagna? Nobody could answer this question. Nobody. Uddalak Rishi then answered these questions. The mouth of the Yagna is Agni, fire. Second was, what is the soul of the Yagna? The soul of the Yagna is Swaha. And the third basic question was, what is the crux of the Yagna? Charity. Because in the end of the performance of this Yagna, one has to perform charitable activities. So from here onwards, the yogic practices became more famous. Wasn't this an interesting story? Moving further, again very important story about these two Vedas. Yajurveda is further divided into two parts: Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda. Krishna Yajurveda is also called as Black Yajurveda, and Shukla Yajurveda is also referred as White Yajurveda. Every historical text has mentioned about this, that there are two parts of Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda. But none of them, or very few texts, have mentioned about why Krishna Yajurveda is called as Black Yajurveda, why Shukla Yajurveda is called as White Yajurveda. Very few texts have mentioned about that. And there is a very beautiful and interesting story associated with it. Pay attention carefully. It's just a 2-minute story, very interesting. And your all doubts would be clear Why it is called as black Yajurveda and white Yajurveda? Pay attention. After compilation of all the Vedas, it was believed that sage Vyas, he taught all the Vedas to his disciple. Okay, after compilation of all the Vedas, sage Vyas taught all the Vedas to his disciple. And as a part of Gurukul tradition, it was a duty of disciple to start his own school and spread the knowledge to the other people. One among the disciple was Vaishampayan. I repeat, one of the disciples of sage Vyas was Vaishampayan. He started his own school and started spreading the knowledge of Vedas to his disciple. Now, another disciple of Vaishampayan was Rishi Yajnavalakya. I repeat, the initial guru was Vyas. His disciple was whom? Vaishampayan. And then comes the disciple of Vaishampayan Rishi. He was Yajnavalakya. Now, after a particular time, there was a curse on Rishi Vaishampayan of killing his nephew. And now, Rishi Vaishampayan wanted his disciples or students to take that curse upon him. Everyone accepted except Yajnavalakya. Yajnavalakya said that, although you are my guru, although you are my teacher, but this curse has been bestowed upon you and you should bear that. I am not going to bear that, curse. He got very infuriated, Vaishampayan, by the behavior of his student. And in that case, he said that whatever knowledge that you have attained, give it back to me. As per various mythological scriptures, specifically the Vishnu Puran, it says that Yajnavalakya Rishi vomited the entire Yajurveda. And since the vomit was black in color, it is referred as Krishna Yajurveda or black Yajurveda. Now comes another part. This behavior of his guru, Vaishampayan, created a lot of confusion in the mind of Yajnavalakya Rishi. And now he wanted to gain back the knowledge that he had lost initially. Now he went to Lord Surya, the sun god, and asked him to bestow the knowledge of the Vedas. Lord Surya gave him the knowledge of Yajurveda again. And that is called as Shukla Yajurveda or white Yajurveda. Guys, hope so the story was quite interesting. Isn't that so? So, basically, it is divided in two parts, Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda. Moving further. Specifically, if we speak, in Vedic, there are various Vedic practices or various yagnas that have been mentioned. Ashwamedha yagna, Rajasuya yagna, Vajpaya yagna, Shruti yagna, Priti yagna, Soma yagna, and so on. Ashwamedha yagna, for example, if I am the sole ruler, if I am the Maharaja Dhiraj, or if I am the Chakravartin means one universal ruler of all the four directions. In that case, I'll perform Ashwamedha yagna. In this yagna, I'll start the yagnic process. I'll release a horse. And in that case, wherever the horse goes, I assume that the kings of that territory have accepted my suzerainty. But if anyone stops that horse, he is ready to fight a battle with me. So why is Ashwamedha yagna performed? So that no other ruler or the king will stop that horse. Ashwamedha yagna. Raja Dashrath, one of the famous Raja Dashrath, who finds mention in one of the famous itihasas of India, Ramayana, finds mention in Ramayana, has performed Ashwamedha yagna. Lord Ram, he has performed Ashwamedha yagna. And the horse was being stopped by his own sons, Lav and Kush. Correct? Rajasuya and Vajpaya yagna. In this case, these are two types of yagnas. Now, listen to me carefully. For example, if I'm a ruler of a particular territory, I've conquered another territory. In that case, the people of another territory should accept me as their new ruler. In that case, I perform Rajasuya yagna. And Vajpaya yagna, for example, if I'm a ruler, and now if I'm going to get retired, I'll choose somebody to assume my throne. For example, if I'll choose my son to assume my throne, I'll perform that yagna, Vajpaya yagna. One of the famous movies you might have seen, guys, Bahubali 2. Isn't that so? Moving ahead. Som yagna. Som basically, it is a yajna which is dedicated to Lord Vishnu. And basically, you might have heard about this. Brahma, he is referred as a creator. Vishnu, he is referred as a sustainer and protector of the universe. And Lord Rudra, that is Shiva, is referred as a destroyer. So, this Som Yagna is basically a prayer to Lord Vishnu by the people to protect them, to protect their cattle, to protect them from different social evils, and so on. So all these are yogic practices that are mentioned in Yajurveda. The Brahmanas that are associated with Yajurveda are Taitareya Brahman, Maitrayani Brahman, Satapat Brahman. I repeat, Taitareya Brahman, Maitrayani Brahman, and Satapat Brahman. Got it? Moving ahead, guys, and various things are also used in Yajurveda. For example, you might have seen that if you might have performed the yajna, or if you have seen a particular performance of yajna, you might have seen that sesame seeds are used, ghee is used, butter is used. Butter, the Sanskrit word for butter is ghrit. Rice is used, and the Sanskrit word for rice is tandul, akshat, or vrihi. I repeat, tandul, akshat, or vrihi. Then, specifically, if you might have seen that there are certain seeds that are also used apart from sesame seeds. Jaw, which we call it as yava. The Sanskrit word is yava. Hope so the points are clear about Yajurveda, guys. So these are the important aspects about Rigveda, Samaveda, and Yajurveda. I can understand, as I am repeating this point again, I can understand it is overloaded with information, but guys, it is very important from the exam perspective, and it is quite necessary for you guys to memorize them. I'll try to simplify them with the help of stories. Don't worry about this. Okay, moving ahead. Atharvaveda. Atharvaveda is also referred as Atharva Angira Veda. Now, why it's called as Atharva Angira Veda? Because it was composed by two rishis, Atharvan Rishi and Angira's Rishi. Since major part of this Ved was being composed by Atharvan Rishi, it is called as Atharvaveda. Okay, since major part is composed by Atharvan Rishi, it is called as Atharvaveda. Majority of the Vedic scholars do not consider Atharvaveda as a part of Vedic structure. Why? Because they believe that Atharvaveda is a book on black magic. That is why they believe in Veda Trayi. There are three Vedas, Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda. They do not consider Atharvaveda as a Vedic book, but it is also a part of Veda. It is not only a book on black magic, guys, it also speaks about different aspects, like how to cure different diseases. We'll come to that part as well. Atharvaveda is basically composed of 20 books. It also speaks about different forms of diseases, like what are the major reasons for diseases. First is Krimi. The disease is caused by virus. The disease is caused by bacteria. The disease is caused by protozoa. Example, dengue, malaria, corona, Krimi. Then comes Dosh. These are diseases caused by Vat, Pitta, and Kapha. Now, what are Vat, Pitta, and Kapha? There are certain elements present in our body which actually maintains the immunity level of the body. And in that case, if there is a disbalance in these, what we say, elements, it will create a disease. That is Dosh. I'll give you one of the simple example. If you visit a homeopathic doctor, or if you visit an Ayurvedic doctor, what does he speaks? Vat, Pitta, Kapha, and so on. Correct? So that is nothing but dosh. Witchcraft, black magic, diseases caused due to black magic. And then comes heredity. Heredity means basically diseases that are caused by, which are passed from generation to generation. Correct? Like for example, sickle cell anemia. Correct? It is hereditary disease. You might have heard about night blindness, baldness. These days you might be finding various products on the internet to cure these hereditary diseases as well, like baldness. Correct? So, as per Atharvaveda, there are 3 to 4 major causes of diseases. Krimi, caused by insects, protozoa, virus, bacteria. Dosh, caused due to elements present in our body. Witchcraft, black magic, somebody has performed something wrong on you. Then comes heredity. Diseases caused due to generation to generation. And there are cure of these diseases. Various diseases have been mentioned and the cure of the diseases are also mentioned in Atharvaveda. For example, Ashti Bhang, bone fracture. Ashti means bone, Bhang means break, bone fracture. Takman, fever. Kas, cough. Hridayot, Hriday means heart. Hridayot, heart failure, heart attack. Correct. Apachit, constipation, problem concerning digestion, and so on. Yakshma, tuberculosis. All these diseases have been mentioned in Atharvaveda, and their cure are also mentioned in Atharvaveda. Guys, can you imagine at this time? Like these days, we have different surgeries. You might have heard about knee replacement surgery, hip joint replacement surgery. Different surgeries you might have heard about, correct? And these are so expensive surgeries. At that time also, there were certain surgical practices that were prevalent. You can Google it, guys. There was a princess named as Vishpal. Okay. At that time, she had a prosthetic limb surgery. Can you imagine the surgical techniques at that time? Way back around, I'm speaking around 1500 BC, 2000 BC. Can you imagine that? Okay. Coming further, Satyameva Jayate Nanritam. Truth alone triumphs and not the falsehood is a part of Mundaka Upanishad. And Mundaka Upanishad has been derived from Atharvaveda. I repeat, Satyameva Jayate Nanritam. Truth alone triumphs and not the falsehood finds mention in Mundaka Upanishad, which is a part of Atharvaveda. And the Brahman associated with Atharvaveda are Satapat Brahmana. I repeat, Satapat Brahmana. Hope so, guys, the points are clear. Yes, please let me know. The 4 Vedas we have studied: Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvaveda. We have come across 3 to 4 important stories which were quite interesting. Correct, guys? That will help you a lot in memorizing the facts as well. Okay? The session is not too big. I'll take more 5 minutes of yours, guys. I won't be taking much time. More 5 minutes of yours. And I'll complete the first part of Vedic civilization. Now, as we have studied, Brahmans are text. Okay. So the Brahmans associated with Rigveda are Aitreya and Kaushtiki Brahman, a part of revision. Samved are Panchvish, Sadvish, Jaiminya, Tandemaha, and Talvakar. Yajurveda are Taitareya, Maitrayani, and Satapat Brahman. And the Brahman associated with Atharvaveda is Gopat Brahman. Hope so the point is clear. These are important, guys. You can check out the PYQs. There have been ample amount of questions being asked on this. Have a look at it. I'll give you 10 seconds. Moving ahead. Samhita. I'll explain this concept with the help of an example. Okay. Because examples are the best way to understand anything. True? Now, for example, during Diwali celebrations, okay, you are performing a puja at your home, specifically during the Lakshmi Pujan, and you are calling a particular Brahmin to perform, or a priest to perform that puja for you. Now, what will the Brahmin suggest first? The first Brahmin will suggest you what all things are required for the performance of the puja. Okay? Now he'll come at your home and he'll start the process. Now, Vidhi basically means performance of rituals. Okay? Now the Brahmin, first of all, for example, if you're performing a Lakshmi Puja, he'll start praising the Lord Ganesha first, Devi Saraswati, and Devi Lakshmi then. He'll recite the mantras for them. Then he'll explain you the significance of those mantras. Vidhi. After Vidhi, Arthvad. Arth means meaning, significance, the reason behind these mantras. So, Arthvad. Purakalp. Why these practices were performed in ancient times. He will explain you that. Then, Prashansa. Prashansa means praising the deity, reciting the mantras in favor of the deity. Correct? For example, if you want money, you'll praise Devi Lakshmi. You'll praise Lord Ganesh. You'll praise Lord Kuber. Correct? So that is nothing but prashansa. Ninda. Ninda here does not mean criticizing anyone. Ninda basically means what all needs to be stopped. These days, modern astrologers, when you visit them, what do they suggest you? For example, specifically, I believe in Lord, but I do not believe major in astrology. But you might have heard about this, that they say what these astrologers, for example, if you have a bad Saturn, do not wear black clothes, give charity to the poor people. Correct. Secondly, apart from that, do not consume alcohol or meat, particularly on Saturdays. So these are what? You are being stopped from doing certain things. That is Ninda. Censure, condemn. You have been stopped from doing anything which is wrong. Ninda. Hetu. Hetu basically means reasons for performing these rituals. Why these rituals are necessary. Got the point? I hope you understood the example, and with the help of example, you understood the 6 concepts: Vidhi, Arthavad, Purakalp, Prashansa, Ninda, and finally the reasons for performing them, Hetu. So guys, hope so you understood the first part of Vedas. Hope the session was interesting. Hope you liked the stories. Tomorrow or maybe within few days, we'll come up with another series for Vedic Civilization Part 2. Please stick to the series because here I'm going to complete the entire ancient India with the help of beautiful stories, full of stories. And these stories are interesting as well as informative both. So please stick to the channel. Please do subscribe to the channel StudyIQ IAS English. Hi, this is Alok Ojha. I'll take your leave. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल.